let's now implement the number of occurrences method. So over here, we are taking two inputs as parameters. So we have a string array, SA, and also we got a string value over here. So you can see that this is the first time we see an array of type rather than integer, which is totally possible. We're just saying that every element in the array is of type string. For example, you can see that over here, every element in the array, index 0 is D, and index 1 is C, and etc. Okay, SA is just pointing to the some array objects in the memory. And then what we're going to do is we're going to count the number of occurrences of string S in the string array SA, and then return the number of occurrences. Let's see some example over here. Okay, it's actually a very easy method, but it's going to make the next method more interesting, like easier to be implemented. But let's just finish this one first. Okay, so now let's say how many occurrences do we have for A over here? We simply just we just go over the array from beginning to the end, from 0 until SA the length minus 1, which will be the last index over here, from here to here. And then the first, we just compare the values one by one, and we can maintain a counter, let's say just simply n. And then we just going to increment the counter if the value we are looking at right now is equal to the value we are looking for. So in the case of A, we'll see that in the case of A, we'll see that the matching, let me just only make this one for example. Let's say for A over here, we'll see that the matching element will be this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. So that means the total value that's returned should be 4. Okay, so that means A occurs 4 times in this array over here. What about B? You can see that over here, B would be over here. B would be over here. Oh, just that. Okay, so B is only 1 time. Okay, what about C? For C is going to be, let me use a different color over here. C is going to be 1, 2, only 2 times. Okay, and then for let me just try to see more color over here. What about D? For D, it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, it's going to be 3. Okay, finally, what about the number of occurrences for E? In which case, I'll use this color over here. What about E? You can see that nothing is matching E, so it will just be 0, which means the counter is never incremented. Okay, so now it's very simple, very easy. Okay, I'll show you how to do it, but there will be a special case over here. You can see what if the array we are talking about is an empty array, storing nothing. So now that means we'll never find out any occurrences for the element. So it doesn't matter which element we pass over here, it just be 0 and 0. Okay, it's easy. Okay, so now let's now try to do for to see how we can program. Okay, the only thing I want to show you is this. I want to also draw your attention to something which I observed from your lab test 1. Okay, so number of occurrences, very easy. We simply maintain a counter, integer, and is assigned to be 0. Eventually, we'll just return n. Okay, so now we'll say for integer I is assigned to 0, I is less than SA the length, and then I plus plus. Okay, over here, and then we're just gonna compare. So now if I say if SA at position I equals S, and then over here n plus plus. Okay, so now let's see what's going on over here. So basically, whenever we try to compare string values, we want to compare their contents. In this case, you do not use equals. You use equals only in 2 occasions over here. To compare string contents, use equals. Use equals only in 2 occasions. Okay, number one. So to compare primitive values like integer, boolean, character, etc. You know, integer, boolean, character, double, and float. Okay, only to compare primitive values. Number 2, and also character. I got it. Okay, to compare addresses of of objects. Okay, in this case, over here you can see that S is of type string. As I said before, anything that's capitalized is actually a reference type in Java. Okay, so that means you're really comparing to see if the address that is stored in S is the same as the address that is stored in position I of the string array SA. Okay, so we are really that's not what we intend to do. We only want to compare contents of the two strings, but not their addresses. Okay. Okay, so now we should really say dot equals. Okay, that's really something I observed from your lab test 1. Please make sure you know when to use what. Okay, so now apparently, now let's say this. If I somehow change this question a little bit, if I say character array, and then I would say array, okay, just temporarily, and then I say char over here. So now, over here, it tells me that I cannot use dot equals anymore because for primitive value, I can only use equal. Okay, that's what I should do. Okay, just to tell you that if I change the questions, but now I'm not going to change it. Okay, let me just go back. Okay, that equals S, and then we'll do n++. Okay, you can see SA, which is a string array, SA at the position is a string, that equals another string. Okay, and then n++, and then return n. Okay, that will just do, and then let's now go to utilities tester and test it very quickly. That'll be exactly what we expected. Okay, over here, the same example as we did in the iPad. Okay, so let's now run the tester. And then we'll finish this second last method. So we got 4123, 4123, 000. Okay, exactly what we illustrated before. Okay, so now we have finished this number of occurrences method. It's quite easy, but we'll see that it's going to make the next method will be slightly more challenging, much more convenient to actually implement.